Well, it's quite interesting to see all this idiocy out there. I want to start with David Brooks, okay? David Brooks, the so-called liberal on National Public Radio, or PBS, and that may want to think you may want to think twice about the defunding of NPR and public radio and public television, because all this guy basically is touting is the the corporate meme, and then these extremists in Congress now want to actually defund this. It could actually work in their favor, I might add, because this guy doesn't have a clue. Okay, so he lauds somebody like Representative Paul Ryan as courageous in making this proposal, this budget proposal of cutting the deficit, cut the spending, cut all the entitlement programs, for heaven's sake. Please, we have too much of that already. We have welfare queens living all over the United States, don't you know? We have middle class people living on the hog. Basically, it's not enough that they can't pay their mortgages anymore because they've been screwed, okay? No, we should cut back even further. And the poor, the poor people are just completely invisible now. That's just great. Great job, David Brooks on PBS. So yeah, perhaps PBS should very definitely be defunded, because they're already being funded by corporate interests in the first place. Guess who's promoting these programs? Yeah, big agribusiness like Archer Daniel Midland, or whatever other corporation is out there. The Mellon Foundation. Yeah, give me a break. So, if PBS goes down or NPR goes down, I don't think it's going to be a big loss whatsoever. The bigger loss will be net neutrality, which the House is basically, they don't like it. Basically what they want is AT&T and big business to take over the entire internet for you, so that they can decide what you get to watch. It's sort of like a tiered cable channel, if you will. If you can't afford to, get the entire programming of, let's say, 300 channels, then perhaps you can rely on some very obscure programs midday when most people are working, and it's going to be streaming, but you can't get into the archives, so you can't watch it later. That's a brilliant suggestion. So AT&T and GE and all these big communication companies are going to be basically controlling what you're going to be seeing on the internet, downloading anything from now on. It's all under the auspices of the free market, which incidentally isn't free. It's only free to those who can pay for it. So if you happen to be just an average American and you want to tune into some controversial subjects, other than the kind of bullshit that Fox puts out, which is in no way controversial. They generate a lot of bullshit without getting into anything, and so does MSNBC and CNN for that matter. So everyone is then going to be reduced to just getting your corporate channels, your little reality TV show, and basically these cable companies or telecommunication companies are going to be able to control what you see. Not because they're censoring anything, but because it's going to cost you more once you want to see some real programming on the internet. That's all going out the window now, with this House proposal. And the House and the Senate is essentially controlled by big corporations. So make no mistake, the telecommunications industry as well as cable TV, it's all the same thing. It's just, these are just merging technologies, basically. So the argument about getting any kind of independent opinion out there hasn't changed one bit. It's still there, only it's being stifled by both parties. And then you have the audacity of somebody like Paul Ryan, this Republican senator, actually saying that we're going to reduce the budget by curtailing all the programs which actually benefit the poor and regular people. He wants to privatize Medicare, making the situation even worse. But then, and this is not ever mentioned in the mainstream news, he doesn't have any proposal to raise any sort of revenue. No, what he wants to do, revenue is completely off the table, you see, because if you raise taxes on the rich, that's not a good thing. Oh my gosh, we might be losing some jobs if the rich don't fund those jobs, which incidentally are going overseas anyway. So okay, so now within this proposal, he proposes not only cuts in social spending for the average American citizen. No, he also has another proposal within that whole bill that entails another 10% cut for the very rich and the very wealthy. I mean, and people actually listen to this shit because they're not adequately informed. Their mass media tells them, no, these people are going to create jobs in this country. They're going to bring the stock market back up. You can all invest, Yeah. You can all invest until it crashes again. Because these very same policies led to the crash in the first place. Do you think that people like Paul Ryan have any idea what ordinary families, ordinary people go through other than their own imaginary rhetoric out there? Do you really think that the elderly and the disabled are robbing the greater society of some benefit by simply existing? Do you really believe that callousness in the face of utter calamity is somehow a moral virtue? Now, I know this has been talked about in many circles, including fundamentalist Christian circles who seem to believe that in the prosperity gospel, somehow, God up above showers money on people if they are just smart enough to grab for the money. So and some people are so delusional at this point that they believe that anything out there will just simply save them or keep them alive as long as they believe in it hard enough. You know, all these mega churches and pastors who make millions of dollars are some of the most deceiving people out there. And if you can't see through that by now, if you want to keep believing that some creature from above is going to save you, you're most welcome to it. Only, it's not going to happen. That realization is going to be very hard to take. For some people. You know, some of us are still grounded in reality, and we know what can happen when things go wrong. We know that we're at the mercy of corporations. We know that they can fuck our lives up. We know that once you don't have a job for 3 or 4 years, you're going to be living on the street. And no God or Salvation Army is going to save you. People in this country need to wake up. We're regressing towards the dark ages. Seriously. The proposals on the table now are the proposals of 17th century or 18th century England, where the wealth equality was so great that people eventually started to revolt, including the American founding fathers who came over here to revolt. Too much power is not good. And the corporate financial elites, not just here, but anywhere on the globe, have way too much power. And eventually people will become pretty pissed off about it. So it's only a matter of time. So the elites better start thinking about what's going to happen when people get really pissed off. Because their drones and nuclear weapons aren't going to save them, because they will have to destroy the entire planet in the process, including themselves. Good night.